Welcome to another episode of Irish from Three with Coach Ben Smith. I'm joined as always with Coach Ben Smith, and today we have one of our most special guests. No, not throwing shade or hating on any of the previous guests, but this man right here, it's kind of like yin and yang. We've got yin. One of y'all is yin, one of y'all is yang. I don't know which, but you know, watching y'all out on the court, y'all, you know, they talk about Jordan, Pippen. You know, in Dublin, I think about Chris and Ben. Like, y'all would have been successful without the other in some regard, but you wouldn't have been as successful without having the other. Talk about that real quick before we get deep into it, but talk about that brotherhood that y'all have.
You go ahead, Chris.
All right, well, you know, I mean, it started, let's say, what you want to say, being 4 or 5 years old?
Yeah,
you know I mean?
Old enough to remember.
Yeah, man, Curtis put the ball in our hands, and, I mean, he worked with us, you know, day in and day out, and, I mean, he just grown us into the basketball players that we became. You feel me?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so it's, like you said, man, I couldn't even, like I said, it's probably even before that. We just, you know, that's just old enough to remember, but we just, you know, growing up, we was in the same house every day at, you know, our great-grandma's house, and just playing basketball all the time, backyard, all day, football, everything together. But for us, basketball, that just stuck. And like you said, my dad put us together. We started playing rec, and ever since then, you know,
It's like night and day.
Well, yeah. I'm going to tell y'all one thing that I was wanting to highlight. I want to make sure that we're doing our part as a show to be promoting good hygiene and making sure people are being well. We wanted to be sure that people are being well. So we wanted to go ahead and put this out here. This Big Willie's what to wear 7-day forecast. You know, because we don't want you, you know, with that Rona out there, we don't want you getting pneumonia or a cold. And, you know, it's going to be a chilly 94 next Monday. So we got to be careful. I just want to make sure that people are aware. You know, Ben, what would you like to say to help make sure people are safe during these trying times?
You know, just take all precautions, you know, follow the Willie Howard dress code. You know, if it's 88, put your turtleneck on. If it's 92 to 93, throw your North Face jacket on. You know, anything to keep warm in these times.
Yeah, man. Really, that's a mind that you don't want to go against. You feel me?
Well, let me tell you, the other day, brother showed up wearing a turtleneck, and it was like 88 degrees outside. And, you know, and sure enough, Ben's style, just like, man, I'm telling y'all, like, I'm not saying this to, like, you know, be patting Ben on the back or making him get the big head. But every time I hear Jordan talking trash on this Last Dance, very first person, like, even if we weren't doing this show, I'd be texting Ben going, man, dog, that's you. That's you. Yeah. I mean, like he was straight giving it this weekend, and I was laughing the whole time.
MJ something else, man. I loved it.
Oh yeah, me too.
Well, Chris,
that's another thing we used to do. Like we used to always play like Bulls versus Knicks in the backyard. Like always,
one us the Bulls, one us the Knicks. I always ended up being Patrick Ewing, man.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, like, no offense to, you know, I know he's a Hall of Famer and all that, but I don't know, I guess where I was such a Bulls fan, like I hated the Knicks. And the thing was, until I realized, because I was too little before I got into basketball, I didn't know that Oakley had been Jordan's teammate and was like his boy. Yeah. Like I would get so mad watching the Knicks. And when I found out Oakley had been his teammate, then I started watching him like, well, he plays him hard, but he ain't hitting him like Anthony Mason is, and he ain't hitting him like, you know, but like I did, let me put this, because you're not supposed to hate. I highly disliked the Knicks, like highly disliked them.
Yeah, I never liked the Knicks either.
Yeah, I think we all just, I mean, everybody liked Jordan, so anybody who was in the way, you know, like, we don't like you, you know what I'm saying?
Man, let me tell you, y'all didn't have a whole lot of people in the way when you were playing. Now, Chris, if I remember right, you played as a freshman on the varsity, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Talk about that experience, about being this young guy with all these other guys around you and having to make plays, trying to, you know, I know you know a lot of guys because around these parts, you know, we all kind of know each other and we see each other at the gym, see each other at the park. But talk about us coming in as a young guy. You know, you came from a middle school team that just dominated. I mean, y'all, you know, Coach Howell was still like, if I run into him, Coach Howell will be like, yep, that was us, man. We're unbeatable. Talk about that transition going from being a top dog at the middle school level with all of your friends to moving up into the varsity level and having a transition.
Well, I mean, it was a big change. For one, I was used to always playing with, you know, Ben, Mike Brown, Michael Arville, Smoke as we call him, all those guys. And I mean, just transitioning into playing with, you know, Bubba, Ted, Ed Walden, Sean Washington at the time. I mean, it was different, but I mean, I knew the talent that I had and the work that I had put in. So, I mean, coming in, I never second guessed my talent, you know, to anybody. So I felt like I was prepared. I didn't expect to just be thrown into the heat that quick because, you know, during the summertime, I was somewhat playing with them, but we still had our old crew together playing. And, you know, a little here and there, you know, things happened and, you know, there I was, my lineup. Well, what it was the football team. We ended up going to the Dome. And, you know, at first I wasn't starting, but once they went deep into the playoffs, that threw me out there. I ended up starting the first game against East Lawrence. And, you know, I guess, I mean, Coach T thought I was doing well. And once they came back, you know, he just never took me out. But as far as, you know,
he couldn't take you out.
Yeah, he couldn't. As far as, you know, I mean, it was different. I mean, I was preparing myself for junior varsity, honestly. We came in that summer we had 20 workouts. I missed every last one of them. Ended up having to run a mile for each workout. So I ended up running 20 miles.
You ran like a marathon.
20 miles, and this was a mile every day after practice. Not, you know, and after doing all of that, you know, I never played 1 minute of JV. So, I mean, but all in all, like, I mean, it was a great experience. You know, being able to play with, you know, some of those older guys, and you know, I think it helped me, along with Ben, because he was able to get in the mix, you know, later on in the season, and help us get to a region championship game. I think it helped us in the long run, you know, more than anything.
Well, I tell you, I started getting into sports. I graduated college, came in, and my first year was 04-05, and watching y'all run hard and having to go to the Coliseum and watch y'all play a dominant East Hall team and things not work like you wanted them to work. You know, that year, like you saw in one of those pictures, you and the ladies made history, you know, having two squads make it to the Final Four in the same year. And you know what's hilarious? One of the lasting memories I had is one of the mamas for the ladies called me one day and she goes, "Jason, where are you?" I'm like, "Well, I'm at work. You need to come by this gym right now." And I said, "Why?" "Well, ChickFilA gave the Lady Irish chicken sandwiches. You need to come get a picture of it." And I'm going, you know, okay. I mean, are you practicing or anything? "No, we just eating." And then to top it all off, they didn't have me no sandwich, man. I showed up, I took that picture. You know, like I was a young man, I was single. I mean, you know, when you're young and single, you're always hungry. I mean, you're gonna want something to eat. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, "Miss McCune, why you want to do me like that? You know, I just come take a picture of it." "Well, to help promote, folks, maybe more people will give us something." I'm like, "All right, well, that's on you." That's, you know, because that was before social media. You didn't have, you had like MySpace back then, and when people using it like to advertise, most people were trying to, you know, talk to their girl or their boy. They wasn't trying to, you know, promote stuff. But talk about that season in particular. You know, y'all made a deep run and had a real opportunity to pursue a championship, and it didn't come through. What did that do for you as far as your resolve. You know, I think about when Jordan, you know, when they lost to the Magic, and he told his trainer's like, when you want to get back, and he's like, tomorrow. What was going through your head when you left the Coliseum? What was your mindset on saying, you know, hey, I want to get back here, but I want to get back here and do it my way?
So, I mean, my thing, once we lost that game, I knew what let's say, I knew what made us lose the game. I just think we wasn't prepared as prepared as that team was. They had been there before. You know what I mean? And once we lost, it was just normal. Back to the gym, back to the drawing board, you know, work harder. And, I mean, go from there, honestly. I mean, work in. No matter the result, we were going to win regardless. I mean, that's just what we did. That's what we did for fun, you know? I don't know what a lot of the kids these days do for fun, but to us, it was going to school, getting out of school, going down to Oconee Gym. We would get down there about 4:30, 5 o'clock, and be down there 8:30, 9 o'clock. You know what I mean? And we would get up and do it. That's all we did until the weekend, you know?
Yeah.
But, I mean, go ahead, man.
Yeah, like, and that's what I agree. Like, for us, okay, I think the cliche thing is, of course, we were motivated by that. No doubt about that. You know, like, of course, we want to get back. But Chris and myself, even our whole group, but especially me and Chris, like, we don't talk a lot, but we always, like, have the utmost confidence. So, like, it's not like, so when we lost, it was like, okay, y'all beat us, but it's more so of what we did. Like, we just weren't as prepared. You guys knew what was coming from us. It's just because you've been there, you're more experienced, you have more of a scout report. But, like, we feel like if we played the next day after seeing them, we would have beat them. So the next year and going into the summer, like you said, work is automatic. It's not this thing where now, like when after the season, I gave my team, like, we have 1 or 2 weeks off. Like, we didn't do that. Okay, we lost Saturday, we back in Oconee Monday, just because that's just what we did. You know, we're gonna play basketball. Okay, basketball stopped here, but now let's go back to the gym and play it against the Antoine Pardos, the Sean Wallace, like the grown men. Like, we're gonna get better, and we're gonna come back next year, and it's gonna be a different result. But we, like, I can honestly say this, now that time has passed, when we lost then, we knew, like, we were going to win state next year, like, unless an act of God or something. Like, nobody was going to stop us from winning state next year.
Well, I'm going to tell you. Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, the crazy thing about it, that following year, you know, East Hall was back. And I remember being sitting in the Coliseum watching that game. We was rude. We was cheering on East Hall. We wanted them
so bad. We did not want them to lose.
I know when you told me that, like, I remember being at the Coliseum for that, and which is funny because, like, a good many of them pictures that I was running as you were talking, I'm like, man, I took that one. The only thing I hate is so old. It's hard to find, like, a good clean copy because stuff's gotten so big. Go ahead, Ben.
I got a question for you. Not to cut you off, I got a question for you. Did you take the picture when we lost to East Hall of the guy catching the lob on Brick?
No. I think that was in the making.
I think that was making. That was making. See, I wouldn't do y'all. See, that the thing was, I'm the, like, me, I've always been, like, the positive guy. Like, I always looked at it, y'all were in school. Y'all weren't getting paid. I'm not going to embarrass you. Like, to me, that's, like, to me, whenever, and I still feel that way when I'm covering stuff now, is that, you know, these are children at the end of the day. They're not fully realized people. And so in fairness to y'all and to your families, like, there were times with different ball clubs. I remember covering a baseball game when if a bad pitch happened, I'm not going to say that it was a wild pitch. You know, I'm going to say that the ball got loose and the kid got home. I ain't going to, and I still feel that way. You know, there were times, you know, this year at different points where, like, our secondary with the football team, there were some plays that didn't go our way. I sure wasn't going to be like, oh, man, he got burnt. No, that, you know, and it's just the way I'm always going to be. But, like, y'all, I wasn't like y'all. I wanted East Hall to lose. I did not like East Hall. You know, them, Wesleyan, there's like 3 or 4 of them teams where, you know, Buford, all these little private public wannabe schools that, you know, like, you know, I always root for us, not just because I went there, but I know, I mean, y'all, yeah, there might have been some AAU here and there, but y'all were working it in the gym at Oconee. Like, that's where that brotherhood was forged. It wasn't forged by being on the Atlanta Celtics. It was forged sweating in that gym back when the air conditioning didn't work good, but you didn't care because it was a gym and it was open and it had 2 goals. I mean, that to me is where the work comes in. So you talked about that work. I'm going to tell you what most kids do nowadays, Chris. They're going to do this right here. They're going to open this up and they're going to be like this.
Oh,
That's what a lot of them do.
My son's doing it right now, probably.
Well, talk about that next year, you know, playing Thomasville. And it's so funny because when I first got my job at Dublin, the principal at the high school at Dublin at the time happened to be the guy who was the head coach for Thomasville when y'all beat them. And when he told me that, I didn't let him live it down because it's just like with that forecast. I'm like, Willie want to wear a turtleneck in 80 degrees. Dr. Kellogg wanted to be the coach of Thomasville. Well, I'm gonna have to keep reminding him about that game. Hey, you remember in that fourth quarter? And man, I just keep on like a drip of water on your head. But for you, when you got in, you know, I remember that run that year. Y'all looked unstoppable. What were some things that you felt like you needed to do, like from an emotional standpoint and from a readiness standpoint, to fully realize that dream of being a state champ?
I mean, I stayed ready. I mean, you know, I'm one of those guys that like to, you know, I like to stay behind the scene and, you know, but as far I was always ready. I would say, I mean, it's working, man. I mean, it's nothing. It's kind of hard to answer to me because I'm so, you know, I'm so behind the scenes. But like,
oh yeah, you low key, man. Here's the thing. I was telling somebody the other day, and it may even been Ben. I could always tell when Chris Wright is mad on the basketball court because that's normally when he slam dunks. Most time he ain't trying to slam, even though he could. But when you would be mad at somebody, that's when I'd know, oh, okay, he's turned up today. He done dunked on somebody. He's mad.
Oh yeah, man. Like I said, I'm one of those low key guys. Like I said, it's little things that if you see me doing, like even Ben can tell you, I'm one of the coolest teammates you can have. Like I'm not the one to go off and, you know, yeah, that was Ben's job. I get it. Yeah. I left that up to Ben. I was one of the guys, honestly. I mean, me and Ben, I led more by example. Ben, sure. I gave Ben, you know, the job of leading both. I just say
talk about that job of being a teammate, because you brought up a good point there about like knowing your role. I mean, because obviously either one of y'all could dominate a game. There were some games where Ben had 30 points, there other games where you had 30 points. In the championship game, y'all both about hit for 30. So talk about how important knowing your role is in a team setting, not just in basketball, but obviously now you're in a team setting with work. Talk about how those lessons have translated into life.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's transition. It just made me, you know what I'm saying, good with people, like, in general, you know what I mean? In basketball, it's only one ball. And that was put in our head at an early age. I mean, and being that we were together for so long, we knew our role. Like, I knew I could score. Ben knew he could score. It was guys like even Britt. Like growing up, Britt was a scorer. You know, John Walters could score. Mike Bryan was for sure scorer. You know what I mean?
No doubt. For a long time.
But you know, as we got older, you know what I mean, it was just one come and go, and it was all about winning. You know, and we knew eventually one night we would have to take the back. One of us may have to take the back seat and let the other guy lead. And, you know, we went from there. It was games where I've seen games where I only had, you know, 5-6 points. But at the end of the day, you know, it was all about winning. I knew if I needed to depend on this night to help us win, I was willing to do that. You know what I mean? If I needed to score, I do it. Whatever I needed to do to help the team win, you know what I mean? I was willing to do. It was all about the team at the end of the day. And I mean, that's what I want a lot of the guys that's playing these days to understand. Like it's not about me. You know what I mean? You gotta it's all about the team. You gotta do the little things to help the team win. If you don't, I mean, you're gonna struggle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's I think when you talk about our team, Chris and I, we had this conversation a lot. Like we were so selfless. Like we did not care who did what. Like you can look at the numbers and see one of us averaging 24, 22, but our third leading scorer was Jeroy. He averaged like 15 as the third guy. And I think the big moments in that year was once we moved Jeroy into the starting lineup, because he wasn't starting at first. It allowed us to play different, which was a sacrifice from Chris as well. But Chris he could play inside, outside, and at the time he was playing on the wing, but this moved him more inside, even though we still kind of play like more of the modern game with 4 people out and 1 in.
Right.
But yeah, and that move, and then the loss, AKA lost to West Lawrence, that really wasn't a loss. I think that happening like just refocused us, and it sent us on. When you said we were dominant on this playoff journey, that's what pushed us towards there, because we was like, all right, we got real cocky. Really, really cocky. I mean, we can tell you this one of those inside moments of the game, like that nobody ever know. We were at halftime losing, and Coach T was talking to us, and me and Chris was like, man, they can't beat us. Like it ain't gonna matter.
Yeah. I think we did that throughout the whole
to maybe the last 3 minutes in the game, and we was like, all right, like we better cut this switch on.
See how fast it came on?
Yeah, well, that was the thing. Obviously I covered that game, and I remember y'all had been trailing by a decent amount at different points in the game, and like that, it's a ball game again. And then if it weren't for a fluke set of circumstances on that one side of the court, again, like I was talking about it last week, I happened to get that picture of that last shot right there at the game, and you're sitting there going, if you had lights around that backboard, would those lights have been red nowadays? There's no telling, but I'm grateful. It's just like this year with the football team. Had we not lost to Washington County, I don't know that we would have refocused ourselves, because, football was doing just like the basketball. We were dominating. Just there wasn't nobody could handle us. You want to score 50, well, we'll score 70. I ain't worried about you. And so I really think that Waco game recentered, and I think West Lawrence for y'all done the same thing, where it's like, okay, we're not invincible. We got to bring it. But if we do bring it and we bring it for 4 quarters, imagine what we can do.
And I want to, no doubt about that. And I feel this year, this football team, and definitely for us, if we don't lose that game, we probably stumble up somewhere along the line. But to go back, as Chris as a teammate, I always say this, like, as the level, of course I played on, but as the level, with respect to the levels, definitely like the best teammate I had. And I'm not just saying that because we related. Like, it's like I was more of a vocal leader. I live by example too, but he was more of an example, which is fine. Like everybody, you don't have to lead the same way, and really would just do whatever it took to win. This is a guy who's been starting 4 years. And some nights he get 20, some nights he get 18, some nights he get 30, but it's the same. You get the same effort every night, and then you come to those moments, like I seen him a couple of weeks ago against Buford, where we were up 18 and they come back, and then we're up 1, and Chris makes a huge three. I inbound the ball and I come back to get the ball, and he said, no, I got it. So I'm like, okay, like, that's just trust. I know you got it. Like, maybe if Britt would have said that, I might have been like, nah, give me. And even though I love Britt, but just for that situation, then he comes down, make one of the plays Chris Wright does, right, left crossover, 3-pointer, boom, put us up 4 or 5, and then I score again, and then bang, lights out. But that's what the trust is like. That shot, only thing made it like huge was the moment. Like I seen him do that over and over and over before. You know what I'm saying? So when he let it go, it was no doubt in my mind. Like, all right, that's a bucket.
You still got that shot too, don't you, Chris?
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. I'm ready for the gym to get. Man, on Wednesday, we were playing good. I actually got back into pretty good shape. and got my rhythm back. And this Corona thing started, and now it's back to square one.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, the moment where I recognized your ability as a team player, I actually think it was the year before, because I think y'all had to play Baby Shack in Savannah. And that's all anybody want to talk about, Baby Shack, Baby Shack. And I see this big old boy come, and I'm thinking, well, how's Coach T gonna square up with this guy? Because we didn't have nobody. I mean, you were the tallest guy on the team, basically. And it's like, well, who are you? And so, Coach T dressed up a thing where, it was you, me, Ronnie McGirt, sometimes John Walters. Like, he kept rotating so that you wouldn't get into foul trouble. But the only person that really could slow him down from a scoring standpoint was you. And the way that you were fronting that guy and keeping him off of his rhythm really was a determining factor in that game. So it limited your offensive ability in that game. But by you doing your part, that secured a chance for y'all to go to the next level.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, that just comes back to, like I said, me doing whatever it took to win. I didn't care about scoring, no records or any of that. It never mattered to me. It was just all about getting that W.
Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, like, we can't state that enough. And I know it's true. It's not like him just saying this for the camera, because I was there. Like, our whole group, all we care about was winning. Like, we went, our class from sophomores to seniors, we went like 82-9 or something. So
wow.
Losing, like, we don't know how to do that. So, and we went 28 in middle school, 28-0 in middle school, great championship. So this is like that's all we cared about. We was putting into it. So I seen those guys, Chris, the head, like Jeroy as well, Britt Johnson, like everybody willing to sacrifice just to win. And that game right there, like, I think even more so in the state championship, that game we won there is like a testament to our character. Because we were down like 18 late in the game, like maybe 2 minutes left in the third quarter, and we ended up winning by 10.
Yeah, I remember looking at you like, man.
Yeah, we're about to cry on the court. Like, killing us.
Now, I want to say, was that the same year that East Lawrence looked strong and had a chance to go too?
Yep.
And if I remember right, I had to stay there for that whole situation. And I'm thinking, like, after y'all's game, in between, at some point, the lights went out at Savannah State.
Oh no, that was our senior year.
And you talk about a mad, because like I've been an old man since I was a baby. I'm an old man. Like I like to get my stuff done and go home to my house. Like I don't care about being out. And so, like, Savannah State's on the furthest part of Savannah. You just before the coast at Savannah State. Yeah. And I'm like, man, I don't want to be driving back through past that shady Kroger at night. I'm ready to go home. And then the lights go out, and I'm like, are y'all for real? We got this brand new gym, and y'all can't keep the lights on.
And we would.
And they're like, yeah,
that night.
Yeah, and it was like 40-minute delay, and I'm sitting there, like I was so mad I typed a column right then. I'm like, I'm hating on y'all right now. I'm gonna type it. Y'all. I don't know. I don't even care if you don't read it. I'm gonna type it. I'm so mad, but y'all, this whole point here that we've been talking with everybody for these last several weeks has been trying to show all of these young people how these games impact your life, not just in that moment, but in the long term. Chris, talk about how the game of basketball has positively impacted your life and how it's helped you to be the success that you are today.
Well, as far as basketball has basically all of my friends. I met some of my best friends through the game of basketball, and just being able to get to go out and do what I wanted to do with these guys every day. And, it just helped me transition into my daily, because like I said, I'm a quiet guy. Like anybody that knows me, I'm not a hard guy to get along with from the start. But as far as impacting my life, basketball is just like it just made me being able to be with these guys made me a better people person, because I knew I had people that trusted me. You know what I mean? I knew I had somebody that had my back, and it all, you know, it taught me to basically, trust and help people, you know, from time to time. But you know,
I mean,
yeah. Go ahead, man.
yeah, I couldn't tell you had went out or not, so I didn't know if you were still talking.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I think just from just me knowing him, like I think he spoke on it a little bit right before he went out. Like Chris really don't talk like a whole lot, so I think like playing on teams, you know, you build brotherhood and friendship. So when you go into jobs and working, you know, like you used to working on a team, you know, even though it's different, you know what I'm saying? So, and I know some of like, I won't say his name, like another somebody he cool with, he met him with work. So it's usually like Chris not one of the people like he gonna see you randomly at a gas station and engage you. But if he like work with you, whether it's in work or basketball or whatever, and you build that trust and relationship, you know, that's usually where his friends come. And pretty much the same for me. Like I think because I coach, like, and I always played basketball, I'm more talking to Chris, but I'm not like, I'm a people person, but I'm like you know,
Man, quit trying to play like you quiet or anything like that. Ben's a different kind of key. You know, Chris is low key, and I don't know if we might say Ben is medium, or I wouldn't say you're high key, but like, I have not ever met a stranger. If you look at me, I ain't scared to talk to nobody anytime. But like Ben might be just that little step below me. Like he might be. I want to stud you right now, but I'll talk to you in a little while. Chris will be like, man, I'm good. I don't need to talk to nobody right now. I'm good.
Oh yeah, he a whole nother level. He a whole nother level of that. But I'm just I think he always saw me around people I know. Like if I'm comfortable with you, I'll be funny and without. But like in the new group, I'm the guy like I'm gonna listen to everybody. I'm like, all right, I probably can deal with him or her and them, but I'm not like trying to befriend all 30 people.
I know I'm not.
Well, speaking of y'all too, as friends, I just want to ask you one last thing, Chris, while we got you is, what were the chances that you were hoping that some crazy white dude was going to fall off a ladder in the gym when he was trying to take your picture for being player of the year? Y'all know you were thinking that when I was going up on that ladder. You're like, man, I hope Mr. Jason falls down. I'm going to laugh at him so hard when he falls.
Nah, man. I actually, which picture? You took so many pictures of us. Which one was that?
Well, when y'all were both player of the year, I was coming, you know, I'm crazy. That's why we're doing this show right here, because I'm crazy. I come with these crazy ideas, and sometimes I outkick my coverage, they say. And I was like, you know, what'd be cool is to get them like inside right there at the circle and have them looking strong, and me get up and get like a high shot. And so I asked Coach T, I said, do y'all have a ladder? And he's like, yeah, you know, he said, we got a ladder. And so he gets it. And so like the whole time I'm climbing up, I'm like, man, if I fall, and like ever since then, I think I did it when I took team pictures this year. I was sitting there telling the boys, I'm like, if I fall, y'all better start laughing. Cause I know back in the old days at Dublin High School, if somebody dropped a lunch tray in the lunchroom, I was number one laughing at you. Like I didn't care. I'm sorry. I mean, that's just what it is. But you know, y'all gave me so many good memories that I'll never forget. You made my life as a sports writer just so much fun because I knew y'all were going to bring it, and to see y'all now being successful people in so many different capacities makes me so happy, because it's proof positive that just because you did well in this or that, it doesn't mean that you got to go to college to be successful. You could go be successful in the working world. You know, I'm trying to tell kids all the time at the high school, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You need to find that thing that you love and that you're passionate about and that can pay your bills. And that's what you need to do.
Yes,
I agree.
Coach T was in that picture too, right? Not the pig.
Oh yeah, he was there too. You know, and he always called me Jasha. He thought I was Jasha Balcom. I ain't even gonna lie to you, man. Like, I still say that's the reason I didn't make the cut on the 97-98 team, because that was the only year I tried out for basketball. Every other year I just didn't fool with it. I played rec ball and church ball and all that other stuff. And I finally had put in the work, and I was two-hand dunking, had my mid-range going. I was ready. I could ball. You could ask Wallow. Wallow was like, man, he's bringing it this year. And so I come out there, and I was balling good against Jeff Reynolds and a couple of guys. And Coach T sat there during the tryouts, and he's like, okay, so Jasha, I need you to go over here. We're going to break up these teams. And the first thing he said was, I promise you I'm not going to put my 5 starters up against everybody else. And so he puts me over here with these 4 little scrub boys. Like there wasn't nobody over like 5 foot tall, and most of them sophomores. And here I am, a senior. And then he starts calling out the team we're going to play against. He goes, okay, Jermaine, Jeff, Barrett, who else do he have out there? It was the starting 5. Like, that's what it was. It was a starting 5 against me and 4 scrubs. And so, like, I'm literally leaning on Jermaine down low, but then having to run out to the 3 because my guys didn't know what to do. And so all my guys, like, nobody's going to the hip to defend. Nobody's going – I mean, it's just – it was insane. And I'm going to have to ask y'all to go on the low to talk to Wallow about the tryouts because he got cut too. But you're going to have to talk to him in person on that conversation. That's not for school surfaces right now. But
you know why?
But I'm going to tell you, before we wrap it up, one last thing I wanted to ask you, Chris, that's been on my brain it about coaching. You had a lot of different coaches during your time. You and Ben both had a lot of the same guys. You know, some of them now are principals at different schools that you see, I'm sure, occasionally. Obviously, Coach T coached y'all when you won the championship. Talk about what you gained from those different coaches perspective-wise and how you've used that in your life.
Well, we've had 1,000 coaches. Like I said, with starting from Pee Wee League to even college, you know, all those guys have helped me in many different ways, which I think I would give. Well, I'm not gonna give it. I'm not gonna make it like one was better than the other, but I mean, that like the discipline that they gave me, you know, it helps me with my kids and, you know, anybody else that I come into contact that, you know, needs some help. I mean, it's just, how do I want to put it? It's just when it comes to discipline, man, it helped me a whole lot. And like I said, in the long run, coach, I don't even know how to explain it, Jason. It's
no, I feel you. I got you.
So I don't even know how to explain it. But yeah, this is discipline though. Yeah, Coach T. Coach T wasn't the biggest discipline type guy, but you know, he dealt with you the way he needed to deal with you when he had.
He had that Phil Jackson approach, you know. Like, I don't know that he was letting anybody go to Vegas, but, you know, Coach T had more of that deal with you as an individual more than deal with you as a collective. And I feel like well, that's what I was going to say is, you know, I've had to lead people at different points in my life, and there's different teams and different groups of people require different leadership models. You know, that's what Ben is going, you know, he's going to see every year. And I'm sure he saw that during his time playing overseas and playing college, is that, you know, no two teams, no two people are alike. So, you know, like I was somebody that I enjoyed somebody getting on me hard. Like I wanted that. I wanted you to push me. In fact, my coaches learned early with me, like Coach Kenner was my soccer coach. If he had a hot poker and poked my backside, he knew he was going to get that effort. And so if you listen to him coaching me and you didn't know us and didn't know our relationship, you would be a certain way and be like, why is he being so hard on that one guy? But they didn't know that that's what I needed, you know, whereas like some people, you know, Ben was going to be his worst critic to begin with. So if I had to coach somebody like Ben, I'm not going to have to tell him a whole lot because he's going to be mad enough when he makes a mistake.
I think that's the confidence. I think that's Coach T knew about us also because he wasn't hard on us at all. And coming into high school and dealing with that after being with Coach Howard and Coach Conyers, the way they ran us to this,
it was different. Yeah, it was different for sure. Coach T, I think, taught me like even as a player, as a coach, whatever, like if they love you, they'll play hard for you. Like as Coach T, we all had great relationships with Coach T, whether you know, well, I'm not gonna speak for everybody, but most of us. But you know, so like Coach T, he's not gonna X and know you to death. Like he's not gonna give you a breakdown, but he's gonna tell you what you need to know, and he has confidence in you to, all right, I know you can let you play something, give you some freedom. If I need to reel you in, I will. But he always he'll stand up for you, like in classroom or you going down. He always gonna stand up for you. So all you had to do for him, you just got to play hard and do what you do. So that's an easy trade-off.
And I think we're the same way when it comes to him. I mean, think about all the people over the years that say we did what we wanted to do. We never did what we wanted to do. Everything that we ran or whatever was what he wanted us to run. But I mean, we would run, swing, and we were running a couple times. We don't have anything in it. Yeah, then we'll play basketball. But everything that we did on that court was what he asked us to do.
Yeah, because he didn't yell and all that. That's a great point. People always think like, oh, he just let them do whatever. No, that just wasn't his style. Like we were disciplined. We listened to everything Coach T said just because he wasn't at the game going crazy and yelling at us. That's requires it. He had a team who, through years of coaching and playing, we pretty much understood what was going on out there. So he didn't have to micromanage us, and he understood that. So
I love the relationship that you and Coach T in particular. The relationship y'all had was funny to me because it basically you were an assistant coach at that time, and no offense to Coach ChickFilA, but like there were times where Coach would get to talking and you'd be sitting there going, "You done?" And just give it that kind of look or whatever. And then y'all, the thing that I saw more than anything for that team was just the level of love that everybody had for each other. There was love and respect top to bottom on that team, whether it was little Izell or Chris Lothar or, Britt having to change his role, whatever it was, I think y'all's bond that you forged at such a young age, and not just because you were family, most of you, but that kind of helped you understand, well, hey, this ain't about me scoring 20, it's about us winning. And if I, like Chris was saying earlier, if I got to score 5 and get 5 steals and 2 blocks, and that's what my sheet needs to say for us to win with, and that's fine. I'm good with it.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's on the court. We was at the end of the day, we were brothers. We did everything together. I remember on Saturday mornings, all of us would be together. We would meet up out by the movies, to watch and vacuum our cars. It wasn't just basketball, That it's everything that we did was together, which transitioned into basketball, and it helped us on the floor and off the floor,
And it's funny, remember the 09 guys were saying the same thing. So it's like our 2 state championship teams feel the same way. Like, even though we weren't just alike, the same thing Chris said, like Sherrod was saying the same thing about his team. So I think it's no coincidence that those groups were so tight, and those groups are the ones with the state championship.
Exactly.
My hope is that everybody on the 2021 team will find a socially distant way to get close and, hit up that hoop. The thing I'm going to tell y'all, Chris, I don't know if Ben's told you, but me and Ben are neighbors. We live a couple doors down from each other. And the one way that I'll know that we're going to be long-term neighbors is one thing. It's going to be repaving that pad and putting a goal out in that yard. See, because until there's a goal in the yard, I ain't going to believe it. Like, because I want him to stay. I want him to stay as long as he can stay. But until that driveway gets repaved with a goal, I thought about it the other day because he was turning in, and God bless him, some tree root done hit a part of it. And when you drive over it, it sounds like a drawbridge. The concrete comes up and then the concrete goes down. And I was sitting there going, he ain't got no basketball goal out in his yard. I said, until that's a done deal, then I'm gonna be just praying every night. Lord, please put a basketball goal in Ben's yard. That way I know he'll stay.
We'll see. We'll see. I won't be here as long as they have me. Hopefully.
Hey, well, we don't want you to go nowhere, and we certainly don't want anybody else to go anywhere. We want to thank Chris Wright so much for coming and joining today. Like I said, this is probably one of our longer ones, and if I didn't stop it right now, we just keep talking. And people out in Facebook world will be thinking we're crazy trying to do an hour, 2 hours worth of Facebook. But Chris, we want to thank you so much today for coming and joining us on this show and sharing with these young people about the values of teamwork and how being a team player. And I also want to take back one other thing I told Ben last week. I told Ben that you reminded me the most in a lot of your style of play of Carmelo, but we all know Carmelo don't play defense. So I got to take it back. I got to take it back a little bit. You know, like I'll say that your offensive style was like Carmelo or is like Carmelo. So that way there's no unintended shade being thrown because you would play some defense, and Carmelo don't play defense.
I appreciate it, man.
Well, guys, thank you so much. We want to thank you guys again. Come back and join us. We're going to try to keep doing these shows as long as we can. This has been Irish from 3 with Coach Ben Smith.